Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Two Average Brown Bros podcast. I'm your host, Prashank,
And I'm your host, Andres.
and today is Monday, August 23rd, 2021. Andres, what's happening?
Well, man, right now at time of recording, just woke up from a little nap between work. But other than that, just once again, there's another heat wave here, and for some reason, heat waves here come with a lot of humidity. So dealing with that, I think my body has gotten used to, the dry summer of Saskatchewan. So now we have to adapt to the humid summers of the East Coast. So currently dealing with that. I can tell you it's not fun at times feeling congested. I promise it's not COVID. It's just literally congestion from all the moisture that it's
Yeah,
around the air.
it definitely seems like the east is more humid than the prairies because prairies you get the dry heat, so it's super like it is hot, but it's more dry than anything. Here, I've noticed in Ottawa, even the humidity just like suffocates you as soon as you walk outside. It's like this big air bubble like just hugging you super tight, right?
Yeah, man. And then the worst part, which I don't really like, is like because it's hot, then you feel stick because it's a humid hot, you feel sticky all the time because like you sweat, but then you're evaporating at the same time, and then you just get like my skin feels sticky at times, and I was like, I hate it. But yeah, that's what's been up. So far, a busy week, but we survived it. How about you, buddy? How are you doing? How's life so far for the first couple of days down in Ottawa?
Yeah, so as we mentioned last episode, I am in Ottawa now, so I started work on Tuesday. Work is slow right now, just doing orientation training for the most part, but I think it's gonna pick up really quickly. Ottawa is really beautiful. It's super nice to be able to get out to a bigger city and experience the just the culture, I guess, because Saskatchewan, like I was telling a couple of my friends and family that like Regina or Saskatoon. Saskatoon's a little bit better because there's more like younger people, but like in Regina, when you go out to eat on a Saturday or a Sunday, especially Sunday afternoons when you expect people to just be enjoying life, and it's the last day of the weekend, just enjoying life. It's pretty much dead. Like one time I went to downtown to grab some food on a Sunday afternoon, and there's literally no one there, just me and my friend walking around, finding a place to eat. Whereas here, I know like Sunday obviously will be a little bit less people, but still like just the amount of people Ottawa has, just around 1 million people. It just feels so good. It just feels so good to see people out and about. Even during COVID times, it is a pandemic, but at the same time, I think people are frustrated being locked up, especially Ontario. Like the restrictions here have been a lot harsher than back in Saskatchewan, so people are ready to be out and about and do stuff, and so it feels pretty nice to be just see people, I guess.
I know it feels very nice to see people around, and just like I don't know, I miss part of that big city living. Like I still like the quietness and the peacefulness of our small cities in Saskatchewan, but part of me right now it's really enjoying back again the big city lifestyle for sure.
Absolutely. So, what have you learned this past week, Andreas?
What have I learned this past week? So actually, I think from now moving on, I'll have to get a little bit more creative on what I've learned because school is starting. But so every week I'll learn something new because of school. So I'll try moving forward to learn something outside of school. But this week I learned a new coding programming language, which is specific for statistics. So it is called R, um, literally just R, and you just use the R Studio. So it's just mainly it is a software and it is a language that people that do a lot of data analysis or are data scientists in order to process data and do all the nice fancy things that I really enjoy. But instead of doing it with Excel, that sometimes can get pretty complicated, just code it, which my very nerdy, geeky side absolutely loved because part of me really enjoys coding. So yeah, I learned a new coding program language, which was pretty cool. It got me back into so. It's nice to know that there's out there. So learned a couple of tricks, uh, learn how to analyze data, and learn how to create tables and very fancy graphs, uh, just like literally by coding. So that's I spent literally the entire week learning about that, 9:30 to 3:30. So long days, but pretty excited. It put me in like a very happy mood to go back to school. So that's what I learned this week. How about you, man? What did you learn this week?
So this was actually very recently. So when I got to Ottawa, my cousin took me to Byward Market. So that's where all like cool food places are and like all these shops. It's really close to the Parliament Hill, just a short walk down. But there's this actually really cool like restaurant where Barack Obama on February 19th, 2009, he stopped there. It's called Le Moulin de Provence. I'm
Hmm.
sure I'm saying it wrong to all of the
Probably
French
you are.
speaking people, but that's the best I could say.
Hey, not
You
too
know,
bad, not too bad. You tried it.
so he stopped there to buy a cookie, and ever since February 2009, this place has been creating the same cookies. Now they're called the Obama cookies, and they're in the shape of a red maple leaf with icing on the sides, and it says Canada. And I think, and at that time when Obama had been just elected, it was a big thing because he represented hope and for the future for a lot of people. So it was pretty cool for him to stop at this restaurant. And I think the one of the cool things was he exclaimed that he loves this country. I love this country about Canada, he said. So, which made a lot of Canadians happy because Canadians are pretty, left wing for the most part, and Obama is definitely one of the more left wings presidents that the U.S. has ever had, and the connection of Obama and Trudeau over the years has been, it's been noted. So it was pretty cool to learn about this Obama visit. It's a big thing because when I went to the States and even in Washington D.C., where a lot of political people live and work, there's different places that you can go to and that have like pictures of different politicians that visit all the time. So seeing that in like Ottawa, Obama, definitely one of the more known people in the world, seeing his picture and seeing like how they dedicated a cookie to him is pretty cool to see.
That's pretty awesome, man. And I mean, you're in the capital, so probably gonna be lots of things like that.
Exactly, and on a side note, one of the things I actually wanted to do, so I didn't start this quest here. So when I was visiting DC again, I was walking around and I saw like all the cool embassies, embassy buildings. I've been to the Nepal one, I saw the Australian one, I saw the Canadian one. That got me thinking. I'm like, you know what? I bet you that someone has created a map with all the like countries, embassies, and consulates in Washington D.C. that I really just one day I just want to take a day to walk to all of them and take a photo in all of them, and that got my gears turning. I'm like, wait, I could do that in Ottawa. And now that I'm moving to Ottawa, my goal is to eventually visit every single embassy in and around the Ottawa area. So I think whenever I have more free time and more settled in, that's my goal.
Man, that would be pretty awesome. And I will, even though probably I will not require to go to the embassy, but if you found the Mexican embassy, we will truly appreciate it.
I
Um,
will. So my plan is to make like I know there's maps, but I love creating like maps on Google, like the different maps. So my plan is to like group it by like either by continent or something, and then just visit them on different days. Because I think that would be a really good way to get around Ottawa as well. Because the embassies, unlike in DC where it's called Embassy Row, which most of the embassies are all in like one long street. and Ottawa seems a little bit more spread out. So I think it'll help me like get familiar to Ottawa downtown and like just the general Ottawa area.
Yeah, man. That also, that I would say like that will be a fun thing to do, just like walking around trying to find embassies.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's a little bit like geeky or nerdy, but I think it's pretty cool, and I'll update everyone on the adventure.
Perfect, man. We love that.
Well, to the main topic, it's a perfect segue actually to the main topic of this week's episode, and that's since Andreas and I both made the big move in the last month or so, we want to share our moving tips with the listeners. A lot of people do like their constant lifestyle, but a lot of people also like change and they move around, whether it's for family, friends, their lovers, or the biggest reason, work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we want to share any like moving tips that you learned, that I learned over the last couple of months. What to do when you move, what to do before you move, what to do after you move. So let's get started.
Sounds good, man. So I think, yeah, the best thing, let's just do it chronologically. So let's just start with kind of like before the move. Um, so I think one of the biggest things I learned before the move is one, give yourself time to do it. Like even though I tried to give myself enough time to do it, definitely found myself cramming at the very end. And actually, a big shout out to my friends that were there literally my last night in Saskatoon helping me finish packing. So I would say like really know, uh, because we don't really know how much stuff we have, especially like if you've been accumulating throughout the years. So give yourself a nice period of time to first declutter. That really helped me, was decluttering, but then also give yourself enough time to pack, because packing under a rush, it's not fun. So I think that's one of the biggest things I learned from, during the process, beforehand, is give yourself a nice time frame, um, and give yourself goals to how much you want to pack every day, and then it will make your move a lot easier.
Absolutely, and well, another thing, the packing, because you never realize how much stuff you really have, right? Like, especially if you've lived in a place for a super long time, you tend to hoard stuff and not really throw stuff away, whether it's like little small trinkets, souvenirs that you've got from other places, or even clothes. Like, I think clothes is the biggest thing, because a lot of people don't like throw it away or donate it. They just like leave it there and not wear clothes after a while. But I feel like a couple weeks, a month before you move, you should go through all the clothes that you want to take, and the ones that you don't want to take, either because you don't like them anymore or they're because it's too small, and either donate them or put them off for like sale on like Facebook Marketplace or something. So then it helps other people who are in need if you donate them, and it helps yourself also declutter a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it is kind of like a nice reset. I think, like, with me through the entire move process, it was like, it's a nice life reset. Like, and even like physically, you're decluttering, also mentally, and like for life, you're also decluttering. So,
Exactly. And another thing, like that you should probably research a little bit ahead of hand. I know you've had experience in this, so you can probably talk more about this, but like about moving services, like not all movers are going to help you all, like, for the reasonable price. Some are going to be way more expensive, and some are going to be, less expensive, but they're not going to go as far. And if you declutter, it's going to help out, like, not just you, but the movers a lot too.
oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like, that's the important thing about giving yourself enough time to pack, is because the more you actually know how much you have, the more accurate your estimate for the move is gonna be. And always try to like one like read the reviews online. They really help out to understand how good or how bad a moving company is. Because if you're in a rush, sometimes we tend to like just go with the first option. But then when it comes to moving, it is very very important to read customer reviews, just so that you understand the wide range of variety of experiences that people might have with that specific company. uh, because then it can really paint your picture on what it is gonna. look like for you. And don't be afraid to get a quote from different places based on like the estimate that you have of things that you have, because then you can play around with like what's more convenient than you, uh, and different services, different moving companies offer different things, right? So some of them are able to store some of your items if you don't need them right away. If you need like a faster move, there's some of them might be able to do that. So do your research and see what's more convenient for you and what's more price friendly at the end of the day, and what makes more sense um, to it. I know nowadays one of the most popular things to do is just renting a U-Haul, which I would say if you're in my case, I was traveling by myself with my dog, and also I was driving my own car. So for me, it didn't really make sense to get a U-Haul at that point because it will have been more exhausting. I feel like I will have been a little bit more stressed throughout the trip, getting a U-Haul and then putting in a hitch car a car trailer and then putting my car there. It will just have cost a lot more stress. But like honestly, if you can U-Haul it and you're young, might as well do it because I do believe it can be a little bit more price effective that way. But do your research and go with what is best for you. And customer reviews all the time.
Exactly. And you brought a good point about researching. Another thing that you should really research is the place you're moving, right? Like if you're going in completely blind, you're going to be so like out of it. You're going to be so lost when you move there. It's really generally a good idea. Like for me, I've been to Ottawa a couple times, and Andres, you're familiar with Montreal as well. I think it really helps. Like even if you're going to someplace completely new, say like to like Algeria or like Zimbabwe, you want to get familiar with the place before you even go. Like whether it's use Googling things to do with it. It's just similar to traveling, right? Like traveling, you're only doing it for a couple of days, but once you're actually moving, you're going to be there who knows how long, indefinitely. So I think research is your biggest, like, especially in the world of Google, and you can literally go on your phone at night and Google things to do and whatever you're moving, things to do here, safest places to live. Like, you don't want to be scrambling at the last minute trying to find a place to live and say you find a place in a really bad neighborhood. Like, to avoid that, you want to find good places to live, or where, if you're going to a bigger city that has lots of public transport options, you want to find a place that's reasonably close to, whether it's a bus or the LRT or the subway, right? So just research, like research. I think that helps a lot.
And I think you brought a good point about that. And I think when it comes to that kind of research, is to accommodate your life, right? Like, what is it that you're going to be doing in this new city? Are you there going to go for school? Are you going to be there for work? Are you just literally hitting the reset button and just see where the life takes you? I think whatever your purpose of moving is, then that's where the research comes from, right? Because if you're gonna be working, let's say, right, this is just a hypothetical, and then you work in the suburbs, then you have to like research and see what do you want? Do you want to live in the suburbs closer to your work area, or do you want to live downtown and then commute to the suburbs, right? So in those terms, I think it's like really researching with your purpose in mind. Like, what is it that will fit your lifestyle, that you're going with in the new city? And like, yeah, neighborhood research, I think it's very, very important. I think both of us were lucky that we've been to the cities that we decided to move. Um, but even for me, when I was like researching for like Edmonton, like, I mean, I've been to Edmonton, but I didn't really know. So reaching out to, like, if you know people, reaching out to them and asking them like, hey, what is it like to live there? Which places would you recommend? Which neighborhoods are good to live in? Because like you said, you don't really want to step in and live in a neighborhood that it's not in like a safe area. You want to make sure that you get in a good place.
Exactly. And, one of the caveats that I do want to point out is that, Andres and I are talking from our perspective, some mid 20-year-olds who are moving for either school or work. So, like, we don't have to worry about things such as kids or, old elderly parents. So, take it as as it is, but for us, it's a little bit easier than if you were to move a whole family.
Exactly. And I mean, we have the ability to, like, we're young, so we can do a lot of things.
Exactly. So, on top of like researching and looking at things where you're going, another big thing that you need to look ahead of time if you're flying somewhere is definitely flights, because flights get more expensive as as you get closer to the move date. So, or like even train tickets, bus tickets, whatever it is, you definitely, or if you're even renting a car, right? Like you don't want to be renting a car the day before and go to the rental car place and find out, oh, there's no more cars, there's no more SUVs or no more trucks. So definitely book things in advance. It'll help out. Even if you're not sure of a certain date you're gonna move, most things like rentals, you can still cancel up to like the day before. Flights, it's a little bit harder to you have to be sure. But if you do get a flight, you could always pay a little bit more, get the ones that let you change things around or cancel it if need be. So definitely, you know, be aware of your situation and plan ahead for transportation, because especially with COVID, things did die down, but as travel picks back up, it's going to be super expensive if you wait too long.
Yeah, and I think that moves us to kind of like getting ready for your move, like the couple of days before it, and then the move itself. Part of that is the days right before it, just making sure that you have the essentials. Like sometimes, you know, if you're moving all your stuff by yourself, then you don't really have to worry about that. But if you're having a company move things for you, just making sure that you have your essentials for however long they estimate that your belongings are gonna be in the new place. So with that, yeah, just take with you what you need in order to be able to get through. And then yeah, and then just making sure that you have important documents with you. So um pieces of ID, your passport, like any piece of documentation that you might need to use or have with you within the first couple of days. It's very vital that you do that. And then, keep on, I will say, enjoying uh, the last couple bit of time that you have in that other place and making the most out of it.
Yep, exactly. I was gonna say that too. Like when you're moving, it's always bittersweet because you're going to someplace new, but you do want to enjoy like the place you've lived, whether you've lived there for a month, a year, a decade. What I'm sure there's so many places that you can go, for the last time, just sit down, relax, or visit some of your friends and family that are in that place. Make sure you talk to them, because as much as we want to keep in contact with people, once you move far, far away, it's super hard because everyone has different schedules, and especially in a big country like Canada, we have friends all over Canada, and time sometimes the time differences just get in the way, and it's not always easy to like talk to them. So make sure you see them and you make point that, hey, you mean something to me, let's go do this before I leave. And you know what, true friendships never break apart, no matter how far you are. I still have friends all over the place that we can go like a month or two without talking, but when I see them, it's like I never left. So don't be too sad about that. And another couple things for the day, within the day you're going to move or the couple days you're going to move, you know, take inventory of things. So write things down, write, especially the essentials, things that you're going to need right away, take with you. Don't like, ship clothes, because if you run out of clothes, you're going to have to go to the new place and buy new clothes right away. Or you're going to have to wait until, the movers bring it to you. And along with that, like we mentioned earlier, if you have anything that you want to donate, just, take it to the nearest donation bin, Salvation Army, whatever it is, like things that you don't want to take to your new place, like help out others when and don't just throw it away. And lastly, make sure, like, if you were renting an apartment, or you have a house, or you stay at someone's house or an Airbnb, make sure it's clean. Like, you want to be a good human being and clean after yourself. Don't leave a mess. Obviously, like, that shouldn't be said, but I think these days with idiotic people everywhere, and I'm gonna say it, it's like, just take care after yourself when you leave. You don't want to leave a bad impression, even if your landlord was the worst person out there. Like, just be courteous and kind.
Yeah, no, I think you covered everything, man. And yeah, just with that, when it's moving day, make sure that like you'll have the energy for it, that you're well rested. It might be hard because like you have a lot of things going on at the same time, but feel well rested and be ready to tackle the move, uh, and embrace the journey that you're gonna about to embark throughout it.
Exactly, because you know what, the move itself isn't even that bad. It's a couple of months after you move, you know, the week or two, a month after when you get to your new place. You know, if you're moving provinces or states or even countries, you have to get to the new place, apply for like a driver's license or like a health card, or you know, making sure the new place that you're staying at is like clean and tidy. There's not like, you know, rats running around or like, you know, mice all over the place. And make sure you update your driver's license, like I said, or your addresses for your banking information. That's key, right? Because when you get paid, you want to get that money right away. You don't want to be waiting a bit longer to get paid. And just like, you know, like I said earlier, once you actually move to the new place, make sure you and walk around, take the local bus, take the local, you know, get, if your new city has like one of those scooters or rental bikes, take one and just go around the neighborhood. You're not going to get lost. It's 2021. We all have Google Maps on our phones, right? So don't be scared of getting lost in your new city. After all, that's going to be a new home.
Yeah, and I think you put there something very important, which is I think it should go on like the move in beforehand, kind of like the beforehand list. Is while you're doing your research, is the things that you'll have to get done as soon as you get into your new place, until you get to the new city, country, or whatever that you're gonna call home. Uh, Try to do as much research of the things that you might have to do right away, just so that you don't fall behind, and you have all your documentation in place. So I think that's one of the most important, is create that to-do list of the important things that you have to do. Like you mentioned, transferring your driver's license, healthcare, all of those things, to make sure that you're on top of things, because otherwise it can become more chaotic to do afterwards. So yeah, so I think that's the thing, and I think I echo what you said. Get lost in the city. I mean, you don't like, depending on how long you're gonna be there for, but still, like, make sure that you have enough time to explore, to enjoy it. Uh, I mean, you're still gonna have to find your new favorite, like, coffee place. What are some of the good restaurants in town? What is there to do? So I would say, enjoy the city and at your own pace. Like if you're more of a chill homebody, take it at your own pace to still discover the city. Or like wherever you are, you might not be in a city, you might be in a smaller town, but take the time to uh, to get to know it, because it will actually ease the transition. That moving transition, it will be a lot easier if you put yourself out there and explore what you're gonna call home from now on is gonna offer you.
Yep. And you know, my biggest advice, well, not just with moving, but just in life, is just embrace it, embrace the chaos, because moving is hectic, right? You're so anxious about starting at a new place. You've lived in a place for a super long time. You know, for me, it was, I lived in Saskatchewan for like almost 13 years. It was, you know, and then moving to a new place, it is chaotic. It is very, you know, you get super anxious. But at the end of the day, life is all about that, and just embrace it. I know a lot of people don't like change and things, but change is never bad, I think. For the most part, you know, there are obviously bad changes, but moving, I think, is one of those things where you can, it's a fresh start, whether it's for work, school, or just your personal life. You can restart everything and, you know, make new friends, try new food, go to new places, just so much things to do.
Yeah, you're just embracing it. I think it's the best we can do. And like life happens, and if it was a very sudden move, uh, there's a reason why. So just keep on moving forward and just make the best out of the new place. Yeah, of course, you might feel homesick. You might feel that you're missing home. You might feel like, oh, but back over here, back over there. That those feelings are okay, and you might experience them a couple of weeks or months within the move. but it is part of the process. There's nothing wrong, but reach out to those that to your people that you had previously, and just just find a way to channel that those feelings, because they are valid, because like you mentioned, like we make our lives somewhere and then we decide to change, so of course it comes with its feelings, but I would say don't let that deteriorate your new experience in the city. So with that is like if you were, I don't know, into volleyball or into football, or you're a lot into book clubs. Try to find those in the new city, in the new place. You never know what you encounter, and you might meet new people. You are going to be exposed to different to a different thinking, to different types of beliefs, and so slowly as you transition everything, like your bank and all of that, also start to like give yourself that time to transition as and explore some of those hobbies that you had in the other place to the new place, as well as finding new ones. You never know, certain places offer different things that you might not even thought like, oh, I will be into that. So everything just it's a life transition of many things. So as long as you do it gradually, I would best. Some people like to just completely dive in and everything, but if you're more of the person that likes to do things gradually, that's also valid.
Yep, and there's so many ways to go about it. Like you said, find your niche, find what you like. I'm sure, like even the smallest cities have things to do, whether it's book clubs, like you said, or a rec league you can join, or even most cities. I don't want to say all cities, but most cities have a library. If nothing, you can go to the library and just read books. I think that's a really good. If you're more of that shy kind of person, reserved person, where you can learn so much in the library. And like growing up, when I moved around a lot, that's one of the first things that we would always do with my family, my parents and my brother. Is the first thing we'd do is get a library card, because even if we had no other people, like friends, no other friends at the very beginning, we could still go to the library and lose ourselves in the books. So that's always a good thing to do.
From beginning to end, embrace.
Exactly, and I think these are all solid tips. We don't know how many of you will be moving in the next little while, but I think these are always good tips, because that's the thing with our podcast. We try to keep it up to date on our lives, as well as the current events going on in the world. So with us moving, it felt really relevant to just like give out any tips that we came across as we made the big transition. So, and if you have any other tips for us or for the listeners, shoot it to us. We'll put it in future episodes, and we'll talk to you about those things.
That's absolutely correct.
So with that, we're gonna move on to the next section of our podcast, which is what we're looking forward to this week. Andreas, what's on your mind for this week?
For this week, you know, keep on enjoying school and the summer. I think I think I'm looking forward actually to start preparing myself for actual school. So getting some notebooks, because I am a very old school person. So getting notebooks, getting some stationery. Um, so I'm looking forward to that, as well as so we're talking about moving. My movers actually came during the weekend. So I'm also looking forward, not a lot, but I'm looking forward to slowly unpacking everything. So that's what my week is gonna look like. How about you, buddy? What are you looking forward in the new town?
This week, my goal is get settled in work, start some projects. They should be picking up pretty fast, so looking forward to that. But otherwise, I'm still looking for a place to live. I haven't fully decided if I want to rent an apartment or get a condo or just get a house. Obviously, I can't afford a house fully right now, so my dad will probably help me a little bit. But at the same time, the housing market in Ottawa is crazy. It's like insane. There's for the most part, single houses, single homes. I don't think I can afford for the next little bit. But even apartments themselves are so expensive. So, it's almost better to buy a house than like have roommates and rent it out. So that's my goal for the next week or so. It'll probably take longer because I don't want to rush it either, but definitely want to do that. And my second goal is to look for a car. I didn't drive to Ottawa. Obviously, I flew here. So I'm going to definitely need one because my new work is so far. It's not even in Ottawa itself. It's in Kanata, which is like 10, 15 minutes outside of Ottawa on the west side. So definitely need a house or a place to live and definitely need a car. So, it's going to be money, money, money. But I guess that's a part of adulting that we all have to go through.
Yeah, man. Well, I wish you the best on that search. Uh, because yeah, it can be very overwhelming to do all of that.
Exactly. So I think take it, one step at a time. But these tips we'll save for future episodes. Finding a perfect house and finding the perfect car.
Exactly. All right, but I think that brings us to the very end of our episode. I think all of you enjoyed listening to us and are having a pretty amazing time. So, Rishad, where can our listeners reach us out to?
So yeah, if you have any comments, concerns, questions, or crybaby stuff, you can always reach out to us. Like always, you know the drill. Our Instagram and Twitter are both the Two Average Brown Rose Podcast. Reach out to us. If you have any tips about moving or just tips about anything in general in life, we have mentioned in the past that people have been wanting to come on the podcast, and we're in the process of just reaching out to people and setting something up. Now that both Andreas and I are in our future places, I guess it's a little bit more stable, so we can definitely put more people on as we go on. But like we mentioned every time, reach out to us anytime. The DMs are always open.
That's correct. But I think that is about it. Other than that, we'll catch you next Monday. Bye.
See ya.